Let's try that one more time. Good afternoon / morning / evening, wherever you are in the world that you're listening to this program, which is Recruiting EQ. And this is episode number 58. Thank you for joining us. This is our pretty new thing we're trying every month of the Success and Wellness panel. And today's topic is finding your peace. Monica, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
As usual, I'm joined by Julie and Jenny, our resident RGC Big Shots. And before we get into it, let us do a couple of intros around the room. Actually, before we do intros around the room, just a quick disclaimer. If you are listening to this, it is going out on multiple channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or X. If you're on any of those, please do feel free to participate. We will take comments, questions, anecdotes. We love them. We have a lot of great participation on the show, so that's great. I will read out your comments when there's a lull in the conversation. We'll be seeing them here. Just understand we're not on those platforms, so don't try to communicate with us directly necessarily. If your comment is very long, it's probably going to get cut off. I apologize, but that's just the way things work in today's technocracy. Okay, quick intros around the room. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first because I have a little friend here who needs to just shoot outside just for a minute. And then I'll be right back. So I'm Julie Robinson, a furry friend who is very elderly and just needs to go outside when he needs to go outside, if you know what I'm saying. I'm Julie Robinson, one of the founders of Raymond George Consultancy, and I show up here from time to time on a Wednesday, which is really fun. So I'm going to now go and be back in a second.
Bye, Julie. Jenny, you want to take it?
Sure. Yes, I'm Jenny Finch. I look after the UK side, and I think Julie perhaps would have said that she looks after North America, Canada, and the US. So we are both co-founders of Raymond George Consultancy, and again, like Julie, show up here on a number of occasions, and very excited today to see Monica and be on this Success and Wellness panel about finding your peace. Can't wait.
Heck yeah. Monica, take it away.
Yeah. Yay. I'm Monica Bloom. I have a corporate background in design and then creative staffing, and was a leader there, and then moved into being an author and a speaker for Ayurvedic wellness, which is the science of longevity based on who we are as unique individuals. So I took the foundation of Ayurveda, mind, body, spirit balance, and it's basically how I helped grow my team in staffing about 10 years ago. So we did the traditional staffing stuff, traditional corporate things, but then also underneath it, we kind of did breath work, meditation, different things to help us be top of our game in productivity. So
nice. Awesome. Yeah. So there's a lot to dig into here. Oh yeah. Briefly, in case you're not aware of who I am, and you're listening to this, and you can't see my title card. So I'm Rick, and I am the SVP at Raymond George Consultancy, which is International Rec to Rec. I work with Jenny and Julie, and I also host this program. Okay. Now, Monica, we have so many things that we could potentially talk about that you bring to the table in terms of coaching and workplace wellness, consulting that you do for different kinds of organizations. Before, though, we dive into that, as you mentioned, you also have a staffing background. This is largely a staffing podcast. What brought you from staffing to focusing on workplace wellness and Ayurvedic healing full time? Were they married into, what's the journey there? How did you come upon this whole journey of yours?
Yeah. So the first part of the journey was my own, I called it Project Monica, and it was my own self-healing journey that I was on. And I was in San Francisco at the time. And one day it was cloudy, as it always was where I lived there. And I was like, I'm so depressed. I just want to disappear and go to India and do a yoga retreat. So I Googled it, and up popped, oh, there are these huts on the beach, and it said something about Ayurvedic massage and Ayurveda foods. And I was like, what is that word? I know that word. What is the word? My soul was like, what is it? So I Googled it, and I found a whole bunch of confusing stuff. And then I found something that said, one size does not fit all. You are completely unique. We are made of nature, and you can cure your own disease and problems by using natural healing modalities. And I was like, oh my God, this is why I'm here. And I started crying, and 4 days later, I was enrolled in school.
It just hits you
like a yes, apparently. Yes.
I was like, oh my God, this is what I'm looking for, and this is who I am, and this is what I like. I was like, everything happened. And that was before staffing. So by the time, as I was a designer at the time, I was a packaging designer for retail. And so I moved to LA, and that's when I went to the staffing agency to see if they could get me a job again, because they did in San Francisco. And then I was like, actually, I don't want to do this design stuff anymore. I want to get people jobs. I wanted to start changing people's lives that way, through that lens already when I was still in school, Ayurveda school. And I was very honest. I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing, Ayurveda. They're like, yeah, what? And they didn't care. They're like, it's going to interfere with your work. I was like, no. So I started a blog, because when I was looking for information on this Ayurveda thing, this weird word anyways, it was really hard to understand. So I started to make it like Western friendly, like Westie. So I call us like Westies. We have a Western lifestyle. It's the way we do things and whatever. And I started to fold that into the way I talk to candidates, how I'd coach them, how we, it was recession at the time, 2008, 9, 10, 11, when things are really hard for people. And that I use those tools as a recruiter, as like an agent, as part of my little mini entrepreneurial business and staffing. And from there, I used it again in leadership when I moved into a leadership role. At the same time, I was writing a blog and writing books, and I doing a radio show and all this from my closet while I was working full time.
I love that.
Monica, you just admitted that.
I had my little microphone in like my sock drawer. I would pat it, and I would sit in the closet, and I would do my radio show, like, because it was perfect. It's like a box, no echo.
That's all you need. That's all you need, really. I'm lucky right now that they've paused construction, but just outside of this building that I live in Toronto, it's like there's a massive construction project. So I'm gonna have to go in a shoebox myself soon to do this show. How was, because you came into staffing as you were studying Ayurvedic healing and a lot of those techniques, because staffing is notoriously kind of can be stressful and a lot of moving parts. Some people can't handle the stress of it. Do you feel like that was part of your success in staffing, or how did that feel as someone who is studying these techniques at the same time as starting to get into agency staffing?
Well, there's a couple things. The first was a little wild, because I was known as like the healing girl. So I had like colleagues. One day I had a tea center. Everybody had the flu, and I had like lemons and turmeric and all this stuff set up at my desk in LA. And they would come and like, they'd be like, can I have some of that tea? And then my other colleague, his name was Tim, adore him. He would always have like mental things. And so I had this book of like positive stuff you could just flip through and read. He's like, can I have the book? I'm like, here. He flip through and he's like, I feel better. I'm like, good. And, we would, just even candidates like having a really hard problem, like if they didn't have the portfolio or the resume or whatever they need to do to find a job, like they're melting down, and they're, I had to kind of talk them into positivity. Like, I don't know, maybe this isn't the right path for you. Maybe the door closed for a reason. Like, maybe come on, like you got a good network, you got me, I can still keep eyes out for you. Like, what do you want to do? It's just more or less being a listener and a listener for people, and somebody. When people are feeling like that, just knowing that somebody in the world has your back a little, or at least cares, or at least takes 5 minutes to talk to you. So that was one piece. But the second piece was when I moved up to San Francisco and I was regional director. This is when I met Julie.
Origin story.
This is when I met Julie. And speaking of like adoration and some of the things we were talking about before this call started, like how you use your words to tell people you appreciate them. Julie probably has no idea, but you were such a, I looked up to you so much. I looked up to you so much. And so, but I had a 3-hour daily commute and I had a 2-year-old.
Oh man.
So here's the story. I was over near Berkeley kind of, and I had to go to San Francisco, and my team was on the bottom. We weren't great. and we were in San Francisco and we should have been up top. And I was a brand new manager and I had to show up with these senior leaders that were doing this for a long time for an early morning meeting. Well, daycare opened up at 8 o'clock. The bus picked up 3 blocks down at 8:02. So I had to drop off my little toddler and sprint to try and catch that bus on the corner.
Jeez.
So I had to teach her how to push mama out the door because I didn't have time to say goodbye. So it was this like sad moment that I was like, push mama out the door. And I was like, holy hell, if I don't make that meeting, I'm going to miss it. And somebody like Julie Robinson, in fact, the Julie Robinson's going to be on that meeting. And I can't look like a new Fulio showing up late. So I would sprint to catch this bus and jam on like a sardine if I made it. If I didn't make it, I missed that bus. And I was late for the morning meeting if I didn't make it. That's a lot of stress.
It is. Can we also back up for a second to how you just casually use the term Fulio? I'm going to steal that 1,000,000%. I'm going to use that daily.
Fulio on that call. So anyway, so I started to melt down. Like this was months of this and I couldn't figure out a way out of it. How do you change a bus schedule? What do you do? And I was also working super late till like 11 o'clock at night. I'd put my daughter to bed and then I would work some more. And then Julie and I were working on special projects. I don't know if you remember that, Julie, but we were doing all kinds of special stuff. She's like way sleeping because she's East Coast, but I'm still like trying to do stuff. And we wanted to do a good job and we wanted to grow our business. And that's what, like most people really want to do that. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
So
no one goes to work to do a bad job, do they? Nobody turns up and says, do you know what, today I'm going to be rubbish. They just don't do it.
That's right. That's right. So trying to put all these things together. And then eventually I was like burning out. Like I was crying a lot and all this jazz and drinking wine, and which is fine, but it wasn't a healthy way to deal with things. So I just thought Ayurveda says the fastest way to change your mind is to move your body. And I wasn't doing that since I had my daughter really as much as I was before. So I was already getting up at 5:45. So I set my alarm at 5:30. I went to sleep in my sports bra and like my workout clothes. And I put my tennis shoes next to the bed. And I decided that I was going to go for a 5-minute run in one direction. I was already sprinting to the bus anyways. I could run pretty fast, but what if I extended the time? So I got up at 5:30. I put the dog on a leash. I set a timer for 5 minutes and I bolted in like one direction for 5 minutes as fast as I could. And I turned around and I came back and it was like 10 minutes. And I never forget. I looked in the mirror and I went like this. I was like, oh, there's color in my face. Oh my God. I looked so dead. And that day changed everything. It changed everything. I was kind of sweaty. I felt good. I got in the shower. I was smiling. I showed up to work and I was smiling. And I was like, that was only 10 minutes. I'm going to do it again. I kept doing it. And then I was like, what else can I rig with 10 minutes? So I asked daycare, hey, can you guys open 10 minutes early? I'm killing myself to catch this bus 3 blocks down. I'll pay you $1 extra an hour or $1 extra a minute if you'll do that. They said, sure. I don't know how much that cost me. It was like $400 a month or something crazy. But anyways, I didn't care. So I did that. And then my daughter was already used to not really saying goodbye. And so I had 10 extra minutes. So I got in my car. I drove up the street to catch the bus earlier so I could get a seat on the bus. And when I got a seat on the bus, I did meditation halfway to San Francisco. And then I was set.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So like just, the solutions were there, but they didn't really, you didn't have those moments of inspiration until you added the run to your routine, is what you're saying. And then it all just came clear, like, hey, I can do this to improve my day.
Yeah, it was like the one thing, but here's what I teach when I'm teaching either my clients or in a workshop or something. You guys got to know this. Me first. I put me first, finally, in the morning. First thing. I did not check my email, which I was doing, by the way, because Boston's number came out early on a Tuesday. So here's me waking up at 5:45 looking, oh, look, we're on the bottom again. I suck. It's only Tuesday. Now I got to make it through till Friday, knowing that I suck. And I got to show up for the meeting on Tuesday where everybody else's numbers are good except for mine. I didn't do that anymore. I was like, I'm going to go for a run. And
do you know what's interesting though, Monica, is I think that so many people think that you need an hour to do something. And
Right.
that 10-minute window actually, as you've spoken, has changed your outlook on what you do and how you've done it and the feeling that you got from a 10-minute window. Whereas I think so often people think, oh, I can't do that because I haven't got the time. I haven't got the opportunity because I've got to do X, Y, and Z, and I haven't got an hour to do it. Whereas actually finding 10 minutes is a very, very different mindset, isn't it? Than finding an hour. And it's made a massive difference.
Yeah, you're spot on. Spot on. It's the little tiny things that we think won't ever make a difference because they're not good enough.
Yeah.
And we don't bother trying or doing them consistently over time. My daughter's 13. I ran this morning. I still run.
Yep. Yeah.
Because I need it for my, if I go like 2 days without a run, I don't feel right. It doesn't feel good to me. Is everybody a runner? No. But there is something that everybody can do that puts themselves first in the morning. Ayurveda says sweat in the morning. It's an Ayurvedic thing. But if for whatever reason that's not possible, it's got to be something where you start with yourself, where you get your mind right. You do your breath work, your meditation, your journaling, your gratitude, your head, shoulders, knees, and toes when the sun's coming up. I don't care what it is, but it should be for you. And it does not have to be long. It actually needs to be short or we will fail. Yeah. If I made myself run for 30 minutes and I started out that way, I would not be doing it anymore. It's too hard.
Yeah, it has to be sustainable. What do you think, Monica, about and this is something that comes up a lot, is, you know, when people are asking about solutions for, they're exhausted, they just can't fit it all in a day. It seems like the knee-jerk reaction is to try to find a way to cut things out of your day. But you've just given a really great example how adding something to your day can give you more energy, can give you more solutions, can actually, how do you feel about that? Like the attitude, the sort of, I can't take anything else. All I can do is cut. I can't add. Being closed off to the possibility of adding, I think, can sometimes be part of the problem.
Yeah, great question. When I coach people, I say it's a few things, because it depends. You can add something, you can take something away, or you can make a swap. So
interesting.
You could do, so for example, I use this one a lot because this was my life. I walk in the door when I was tired in those days, Julie, at the end of the day, grab a glass of wine and sit down. Well, what if
makes me sound like this is all my fault, Monica? It's really not my fault.
You're just such a shining. I was like, I want to be like her because her numbers were really good.
When
she's so smart, and she looks like a goddess. And then you get on the call and you're like, I get to be on a call with Julie Robinson today.
goodness, yes.
That's how I feel every day, by the way. That's my life.
Such a blessing.
Just I'm going to definitely.
That could have been that could have been a swap, though, wouldn't it? You can cut, you can add, or you can swap. That could be a swap out.
You totally could have swapped that. Absolutely,
yeah. So pretend though you're coming home at the end of the day. You're like, I'm going to have a glass of wine. And what if you're like, no, I'm actually going to put on my sneakers and I'm going to walk around for 15 minutes before I have my glass of wine, or maybe they don't want it. So maybe that's the swap, is you're like, it's not an automatic reach for something like that. Instead, you're going to put on your shoes, swap it out, and see if the wine still matters to you in 15 minutes or not.
That's habit though, isn't it? It's habit. It's just breaking the habit and just doing something a little bit different, which is hard.
Yeah, exactly. It's changing your mind. So
How long, Monica, do you think you need to do something for it to become a habit? Because I think so often one tries things, and let's say you don't see the results as quickly as you want to see them, or you're not feeling different. How like in your experience, what's the time frame to kind of keep that consistency going?
I'm a nerd, and once I start something, I don't really leave the path unless there's a reason to leave the path. So that's number one. I don't know exactly how long, but there is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Do you know it?
Right.
He says, all right, so it's 66 days to keep a habit, and on day 67, it's harder not to do the habit than it is to do the habit. Right. So that's data driven, and that's from his book. That's not from me. From me, I will do something as long as I have the desired results. So here's the thing. Do I like running? No, I would like to sleep till 10. I would really like to sleep till 10.
That sounds great.
I never do that because I don't like how I feel after I sleep way too late. So the only reason why I kept running was because I never forget it. I was in the mirror and I was like, whoa, pink cheeks. I'm smiling. And I hold that vision of myself feeling like that. Even still, if you don't do that thing, you're not going to get those results. So just do the thing and don't complain about it. Be grateful that you're strong enough still and your legs work good and that your lungs work good and that you have eyes to see the ground and go for a run.
I feel like, and you said something that I find interesting that I relate to from my own struggles with not doing these healthy things over many years in various ways, whether it was from my day jobs or when I used to have a record label and all this stuff, and not doing the healthy thing. There's almost like, I feel in Westies like us seem very blinded to a lot of behavior that you can only, now that I'm older and wiser, look back and call self-sabotage. Really, it's coming up with a million reasons to not do the healthy thing, just talking yourself out of it, being like, well, I don't really have time, well, it's not really worth it, well, there's this, that, the other thing, to talk yourself out of doing the healthy thing even when it gives you the results. Do you feel that is that common in your work? Is there ways of combating that voice in your head that just says, no, just don't do the healthy thing?
Yeah, I'm just taking notes now because you guys and apparently I have to use a marker because that's the only thing I have around. Yeah, I call it, well, first of all, there's two things. And this relates to business and it relates to your personal life and personal care. Number one, there's a willingness. If you are not willing to make the time to take care of yourself or learn how to do it, simply don't have to be crazy. Like Jenny said, you don't have to do 45 minutes of workout every day. 10 minutes gets it done. Be willing to do the 10 minutes. You have to be willing. And same thing with your sales calls or whatever else you're doing at work that you don't really want to do. This is a brain train. It works in any direction. Is you need to have a willingness to do better or a willingness, curiosity to sit down and do the freaking thing that you don't want to do, because all those sales calls are going to relate to, going to result in somebody saying yes down the line. It's the same thing. So number one, there is a willingness you have to have inside of yourself in order to do something. Number two is I say to myself, no negotiating, just do the thing. No negotiating. I tell my clients, they're like, but no negotiating, just do the thing. When it's done, you can tell me all the reasons why you didn't want to do it. Go ahead. I will listen. Just do the thing. Because our brains are so active and our bodies are so not.
It's true.
You got it? Point. So the mind-body connection really matters because we sit like this on one of these all day. And our bodies are actually made to move and sweat and stretch and bend and crawl and do all these amazing things that our bodies can do, but we don't use it. So what happens, the mind takes over and it gets super chatty. If you like,
dear God, Monica.
Mine is.
I relate to that too.
Yeah. 100%. But as soon as you move your body, whether it's playing an instrument, cooking, you're singing while you're cooking, you're going for a walk, you're doing whatever, you're doing something that's maybe difficult for your body or challenging for your body, your mind stops being like, and it goes, oh, what are we doing? That's hard. Okay, I'm here. And all of it goes away. So if the sales calls are hard, I'm just using that as example, because it's like, whatever. But if something at work is really hard, maybe do something physical before you do the thing and just tell yourself you're doing the friggin' thing. I just something hard for my body. I'm going to do the hard thing now. And then after that, I'll complain to everybody on how much I didn't want to do it.
So I went to a conference a couple of weeks ago in where I live in Brighton in the UK. And it was a recruitment conference, and the speaker after lunch, and there were lots of different speakers who were amazing, talking about all recruitment related things. And the speaker after lunch was doing breath work, and I've never been there before and I've never done it. And, often after lunch is a bit of a graveyard shift, isn't it? You've come in, everyone's sort of like, okay. It was fantastic. and the energy afterwards was just like a bit of a reset. It's like, right, okay, I'm in the room. And, you know, what everyone did as a group, it was just fabulous. And I heard you talk about breathwork earlier, and it's definitely something that I'd never experienced. And in my head, I'm like, not really sure whether or not, you know, I told the lady, I'm not saying anything, you know, untoward here, but I was like, I don't really know whether that's kind of for me. Oh my goodness, fabulous.
Game changer. Yeah. So Julie, I don't know if you know this, I think you do, but after production meetings on Friday in San Francisco, I would take my team and we would do meditation and breath work. And then the other side of the office started, what are you guys doing? Like, anybody's welcome, come on in. We just got to finish our production meeting first, and then you can come in. And so we would do that. And the meditations were, it was like a 21-day meditation challenge, and I bought it. And I just said, give me a number between 1 and 21. And one of the teammates would say it. And that was the meditation we were doing. And we would do it. And then we do breath work. And breath work's a game changer. Listen, the nostrils are the closest passageway to the mind. So if you can control your breathing, you can also control your mind, which is also part of exercise. You breathe different, right? When it's challenging. Yeah. So you can change that. I have a 6 minutes breath work that I've taught my team, but you can change it even faster than that. Just by closing your lips and breathing through your nostrils, it goes straight to the brain and your whole system calms down and gets really clear. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I was fascinated with it, and I couldn't actually believe that I hadn't really encountered it before.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we do it every day, all day, or we die. So,
but like kind of badly, for me anyway. I've been doing it like badly until I actually started to pay attention and try to take care of myself and learn breath work and things like that in the past few years. But I definitely spent roughly 40 years doing it badly too, which is something you don't think of. It's just kind of like I'm breathing like crap all the time, but I don't really think of it, right?
Breath work is called pranayama in Sanskrit, and it means life lengthening. So it is, if we can learn to control and use our breath the right way, getting in enough oxygen, which opens the channels, goes to the mind calms down, all stress levels calm down. Our body is in a more fluid sort of natural state than the stressed out, fast paced stuff that we're used to. So just remember that breath work, when you use your breath, it's life lengthening.
Do you picture? Oh, sorry, Julie, go for it.
Well, I was going to say, so you've talked about sort of your time in staffing when things perhaps weren't brilliant at the start there, but then something happened and you evolved and you ended up, or for a period of time there, you had a fantastic high performing team on. So you absolutely did. Would you attribute any of that to sort of some of the things that you did from a health and wellness perspective during the day? I mean, this is just
yes,
yes,
because it boosted my confidence, because I figured my way out of my own. I figured out how to fix me and how I thought about the day, and I felt empowered because I was like, wow, I'm actually taking care of myself, and I'm not totally burnt out at the end of the day when I'm seeing my child, because I had fun all day today. And when we're having fun, when we're treating work almost as play and service, at least for me, that is really what makes me tick. And that's it's fun and it's purposeful. And when you get that going first thing in the morning, and it seeps into every part of your day, your team feels it, your boss feels it, your colleagues feel it, everybody feels it. And I think there is, there's no drippiness. You can't grow a business when you're feeling drippy, cloudy, sluggish, not confident. You need all of those things to be working with you. So yes, Julie, like, it helped me feel empowered over myself, more confident for myself, that I could actually be a great leader. At least I was on my way, taking little steps every day to try and do that. And my team was seeing it. If they got burnt out, I'd be like, we're going for a walk. And I would take them outside and we would walk up California Street. It's really steep. And we would walk along the cable cars, and the street was like super steep. Catch a nice view of the town. I'm like, are you done? Let's go back down. Can you work?
Get out of the cupboard. You need to go back to work.
Yeah. And then
I have a client that does walk-in meetings.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know in the UK how often that happens. I think it's quite rare, but it's such an easy thing to do to kind of combine, isn't it? When you actually just go for a walk and you grab a coffee, tea, water, whatever, and you have the meeting on the go, basically. And it's a real opportunity to kind of get you've done your meeting, but you've also been outside and had some fresh air as well.
Yeah, and it's intimate. You don't
Yeah.
forget those conversations for some reason when you're on those walks. I remember the walk conversation. Something was going down with somebody, and we just couldn't be in the building anymore. I was like, let's get out. Outside, be in the sun.
To what extent, Monica, do you think, and this is just, I ask this because conversations that we have in our day-to-day as rec to recs, right? We're always talking to, often salespeople and leaders in staffing and owners of staffing companies. And it's interesting because there's simultaneously a lot of talk about wellness and people not burning out and people quiet quitting and all this. But on the flip side, particularly directed at younger folk, there is also a lot of rhetoric around them not having things like grit or resilience or whatever. And so like a core element of the sales culture seems to be even just using words and ideas that are very hardcore, tough. You have to be tough. You got to be hardcore. You got to be able to keep up. You got to be able to take it, handle it. The war analogies, right? We destroyed it. We annihilated them. We crushed it. It's a lot of words like that. A lot of sales is like that, right? And even on the physical fitness, you know what I mean? I know there's a lot of our clients who go to the gym together and whatever else, but it's like, come on, like go harder, no days off, get swole. You know what I mean? It's all that kind of culture. But there's a certain toxicity around the sales elements, just verbally even, and like the ideas, and a certain toxicity even around the quote unquote wellness and health element, which is you have to go harder, you have to work harder, faster, sleep less, be a superhuman all the time. Is that something you encounter a lot in sales? I mean, that's certainly my observation, is that on the wellness side, things like working out, fine, as long as you're going hard. But on the wellness side, breath work, meditation, that sounds softcore. That sounds like you don't have what it takes. You don't have the grit to do this job. You're too emotionally, sensitive or whatever in a lot of cases. Not all, of course, but that there's still, I observe that. How do you feel about that aspect of the culture? Is it something that you are finding is popular or losing popularity? How do you feel?
Yes. I have lots of thoughts. So first, in Ayurveda, too much or too little of anything is not good. We walk the middle path. Sometimes you're going to go hard. And sometimes when you go hard, you're going to crush it, to use your war words. And then you can leave early on Friday. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what I'm talking about.
How I think about things. But I do think there is a level, for younger generations, there's always been a phone. Phones make things really easy and instantaneous and accessible, and it's so easy. And so I do think that there is maybe some the parts in life where they didn't experience, like we did, like run into each other's houses and ringing the doorbell and waiting to see if somebody would come out and play, or if you would just have to walk away and go home and go to somebody else's door and ring the doorbell and see if they want to come out and play. You know what I mean? Like even from little kids, that was in us to be able to do that stuff. They don't have that. It's not their fault. The world changes and evolves. But I think more than the go hard, than the do this, than to do that, what I would encourage if it was my team is be like, just believe in yourself. What if you believed this was going to work? If you believe that there's a yes right there, what actions would you take? What would you do? And I would put it on them to tell me what they would do if they believed in themselves enough to get a yes out, that there's a yes right there. What would you do? The yes might be there in 2 days. The yes might be there a year from now, because, sales cycles are, who knows? But I would say it's more about the belief and the mindset versus the action, because the mindset drives the action. And there needs to be a willingness. Again, if I wasn't willing to be like, well, shoot, I'm already getting up at 5:45, I might as well get up at 5:30 and sleep with my workout clothes on and get outside. That was a willingness on my part to do better because I was sick of feeling burnt out every day. I wanted to do it. It wasn't like, you know, my family being like,
you better.
You are crabby. It wasn't even my boss being like, your numbers suck. You better get your shoes on and go running. You know, it came from me.
Yeah.
So there has to be a willingness within the individual people. I think you can ask them, hey, look, let's look at your sales number. What do you think is 1 to 2 things you could do differently if you believed in yourself and you'd get a yes out of it? Let's look at what you're doing now. Let's look at your numbers and where they're at. What do you think could make a difference for you? Let them tell you. People stand behind what they create. They stand behind what they create. So as leaders, if we can ask them, hey, this is what I'm seeing. Here's the data. What do you think you could be doing better? Where do you feel like you're falling short? They could say this. You'd be like, that's cool. What I see is the same or maybe a little bit different, but what do you think you want to try this week or this month or this quarter or whatever? Let them tell you. And then you can be like, I'm going to hold you accountable to your own words and your vision for yourself because I believe in you. You believe in yourself. I believe in you that you believe in yourself. So let's go get that yes. It's very different than going hard and like numbers, crush it.
It is. Because
the action is the same.
Yeah, for sure. But interestingly, you brought up in the same analogy, having phones and social media and those things and the impact that has. And, you know, psychologically, the addictive element of it, they say, is based on fear. It's fear of missing out. It's all FOMO based. You need to stay stuck to your phone because if you don't have your phone, oh my God, but I'm missing something. I need to be there. And it sounds like you're talking about kind of the antidote to that being faith, like having faith in yourself, having faith that there's something positive that's going to happen as an outcome to what you're doing and not fear based. They're both like looking to the next thing, but one of them is, oh, I believe something positive is going to happen from my work. And the other one is, oh, if I don't keep, you know, if I don't stay attached to this, I will miss out on something. But in the fear one, like you're not in control at all, right? You're completely out of control.
Great point. And again, we're living in our head. Fear isn't really around. There is nothing for me to fear.
Yeah.
If an elephant was going to come and smash through my window and kill me, I wouldn't, like, it would just happen. I wouldn't really be afraid of that. But if I was afraid of that, I'd be afraid of that, which is silly. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just using that as an example, but I want to share something with you that's Ayurvedic. Everybody needs to hear this, is the 5 senses are the way that we experience the world. And the 5 senses are the way we heal in Ayurveda. If you look at Ayurveda therapies, it's all 5 sensory. The things we see, hear, taste, touch, and smell. When we are on our phones and our screens all day long, it is an overuse of the eyes. We are overusing our sense of sight, which directly affects the mind. And so to your point, if we're anxious and fearful about these screens, it's just because you're not running outside to your neighbor's door and knocking on the doorbell and being like, hey, do you want to play? It's too much on the eyes. We're not necessarily talking to people, connecting with people. A lot of people aren't in offices anymore. You don't see them. You don't go to the water cooler. You don't make each other tea or coffee. There's physicalness that we need as humans that is being underutilized, and the eyes are being overutilized. And that makes the mind go in a million different directions. And most of them are not positive. It's distraction, funny. It's doubt, it's fear, it's comparison. Oh my God, comparison. Oh, yeah. So comparison, right? So when we overuse the eyes and it's the only way we're receiving information, it can be really harmful. It can create and feel like a suffering. Whereas if you put that thing down, close your eyes, go outside, get some sun, do whatever, run around, I don't know, head, shoulders, knees, and toes, do some push-ups, call a friend, old school, just pick it up and call them. Don't text them first, just do it. Anyways, that's my answer. Does it help?
That's awesome. What would you suggest, like, for example, in staffing, right? You are on the computer a lot and sometimes you can't meet people face to face a lot. Are some of the exercises that you're doing sort of helping to balance back out? Like you're saying, the balance being important. Like, what can people who are like me, I work remotely, right? So it's like I see people face to face relatively seldomly for work. What would somebody like me be able to do or add to my routine to help balance that out a bit?
Yeah. Sometimes I look to the sky, like when I look away, when I'm looking at the camera, and then I have this ring light here, it's a little much on my eyes. So I will look at the sky. So take a break from your computer, look at the sky. You can set your Fitbit or whatever for every hour, 30 minutes or something like that. But I also have a dog, and she's a border collie. So she needs to go outside and she needs to take breaks. So thankfully, I take her outside for breaks often. It doesn't mean I'm slacking on work. It doesn't mean that I don't care. It means we're going to go outside, sniff some air. I'm going to get some water, go to the bathroom. If I need a snack or something, I'll grab that. But they're micro breaks. But listen, here's something else that's important. You don't want to micro break your day so much that you have no focus time.
Right. Touche.
So it takes 20 minutes for the mind to change tasks. So if we're constantly jumping up and getting a snack, going to the bathroom, getting water, and then taking the dog out, it's like a monkey. You can't have that either. So the way I wrote my book, so I wrote my book when I was in corporate and I was a leader, and I would work after I put my daughter to sleep when she was 3, and I'd write from 8 p.m. sometimes till 1 a.m. But I did it with an hourglass timer. Because with a digital timer, I would cheat and I would look to see how much time I had left. With an hourglass timer, I would just write until the sand ran out. It was a 30-minute timer. When the sand was out, I'd be like, ooh, do I need new music? Do I have to make tea? Do I need to go to the bathroom? Do I need anything? No, quick, flip it. And as long as the sand was running, my butt couldn't leave the seat. I had to write.
It's a good idea.
So, yeah, I'd flip it. I'd get to like an hour and a half. And after 3 flips, then I was allowed to like take a break. Like I had to do something. A lot of times I just go to bed because it was kind of late. But sometimes I could rock that until 1:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd show up to my team. I'd be like, I'm so energized. I got no sleep last night. I feel amazing. Because I was working on this passion project, right? So I think you can do micro breaks, but again, walk the middle path. Too much of anything and not enough of anything is not good. We don't want to be sitting for 5 hours at a computer, not taking a break. You need to take a break, but don't do it every, 20 minutes or whatever, or you're not going to get anything done.
Touche. Let's talk about your book while you're here. What's your book called? Let's put a link to it so people can buy your book.
I have 2 of them. Well,
Books,
I have 2. The big one, this is a really old sloppy copy. This is the one that I wrote when I was on Julie's team. I wrote this one. This is In Your Elements. And this is the first one from 2016. I was redoing it. I need to, I was going to put out version 2, which is why there's all these things. But the most recent book is called Ayurveda for Life. And this one is sweet. I would recommend this one because it's not as big. They kind of are like sister books, but came out in reverse order. So Ayurveda for Life, I'm going to be making an audio book really soon on this, and then ordering some soft covers. So it's a little more pricing friendly for people too. So you can find both of those on Amazon.
We'll include links to them too. Definitely, very needed. I think a lot of people are super burnt. I mean, from talking to people who are successful and not showing it, that's a big thing, but they're burnt inside, right? And they don't know what to do. That's something I come across often. And the opposite, where it prevents their success too.
Yeah. And don't forget that we have to take care of our vessel, and we have to do our battery charge, which is why I say me first. If you were to wake up in the morning and look at your phone and it was on 20% juice, what would you do? You charge it. So when we wake up, we need to make sure we charge ourselves in some way. If it's spiritual, if it's reading something good, writing something good, whatever. But don't forget that piece, because a lot of the burnout is that we're giving a lot of ourselves away to other people and other tasks. We're giving it all away without giving it to ourselves first. And I don't want that to sound bad. We want to be of service. We want to do it. Right?
They say, don't they, on an aeroplane, like as a parent, you put your mask on first and then you can help other people. You do it you first. And that's essentially the same thing, isn't it? You need to be right yourself. I think, though, that so often people don't, that it becomes habitual, the stress, the work, the pressure, and actually, until you take a moment to recognize that, you're kind of on this wheel, and actually getting off the wheel often in terms of recognizing that you need to make a change, I would think is probably the hardest thing, because people saying, oh, you look, no one's going to say, look, you look a little bit tired, but people are recognizing of, if you're in the office, they can see that. But I think it's so hard for you to reflect unless you're in that right mindset to reflect on how your own vessel is, as you say, Monica. Then you don't do it, you just keep going, and it keeps going and keeps going until something breaks, and then you've got a bigger journey to go back and repair.
Can I offer something that people might not think of? It's very simple.
Please.
Do a 180. And everything that's not working for you, do the exact opposite. If you're feeling sluggish and heavy, do the opposite. Go move your body and get lighter. If you're feeling unconfident, tell yourself you're confident. Do something that makes you feel confident. It's a mindset shift of 180. Like, I had breast cancer in 2021. That was scary. I got very lucky. I'm healthy. Everything's good. But breast cancer surgery, I do not like hospitals. I don't like doctors. I don't like that stuff. Don't touch my body, please.
Yeah, fair.
But I had to go and get a lumpectomy and radiation. I was like, oh, hell no. So I just changed my mind about it. And instead, I went in there. It was a great day. It was one of the greatest days of my life, breast cancer surgery day. And I do have a podcast episode. I can send that to you, Rick, but share that podcast episode.
Absolutely. Happily share it. Yeah.
And so I rigged my mind, and I was like, what would you do if this was the greatest day ever because they're taking out the lumps? I ended up coaching doctors. I ended up seeing how burnt out the healthcare workers were. I coached them a little bit because it was still COVID. And I showed up grateful. And I showed up as a helper to them because they were helping me. And I met new friends and I had a ton of fun.
And on that note, which is a lovely segue, actually. So I think that self-care and feeling good also comes from helping others. So I think, which is a fabulous example that you gave there, Monica. But I also thought that it would be good for, and not that we all have to do this, but you've also got a fantastic other example of what you're doing currently, right?
Yes.
Which I'd love for you to share.
Please
you want
do.
me to share that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I am building an emotional and mental well-being van for the people of LA, especially since after the wildfires. So during the wildfires, my mom was having heart surgery the same day on January 8th in Wisconsin. So I was there. And my mom was in heart surgery, and I was watching the news, and I was watching LA burn. And I was like, people are not okay.
Yeah.
Whether that's happening and you're affected directly by those fires, which all of LA's hearts break for that, but there's people that are directly affected. And then there's people that are directly affected, and maybe their mom's in heart surgery, or they're getting a divorce, or something's happening with their kid, or somebody died, or they lost their job, or all the things that can happen to us are happening all of the time. And so I'm like, I'm going to build a van. And it was fast. Like, I was like, I'm building a van. Got on the phone with my cousin. Hey, you know stuff about trucks. How do I find a van? What kind of van do I get? So we're like looking. It was fast, and I'm still building it, and I'm having so much fun. But the van is going to be it's a 25-minute experience where I bring people in. It's not creepy. I don't want to sound creepy, like I'm bringing people into the van. I'm leaving doors open.
Come into the van.
Yeah, no, it's a wellness van. People, we swear it's a wellness van.
See you later. So, but it uses the 5 senses. It uses aromatherapy, breath work. We'll do some tapping, but basically it's a transformational van. So you can come into the van with all of the things that are hard for you, and you're going to process them while you're in the van. And then by the time you leave, you're going to realize, hey, it's okay. There's an uplift here. Like, it's a rejuvenation van. You're rejuvenated now. In nature, things die all the time. They end, they close. there's nighttime every day. It's closure of the sun. And every day the sun comes up still. It's that. So I'm building the van. I'm having so much fun. It's artsy. I've never built a van before. So I've had to like grab neighbors and have them hold wood and drill wood through metal, because I can't do that by myself.
And as we learned from some of your very charming videos, don't necessarily put the wood down on a nice looking pile of rocks, because those rocks might be covered in ants, and then you might have ants in your van. So that's
that was
also
so gross.
good advice.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I was putting rocks on, I was gluing the subfloor, parts of the subfloor down. And I was like, oh, let's be natural about it. We'll use rocks to hold this down. How Ayurvedic. And then I went and picked up the rock and I put it down, and it was like, blah, 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 blah. There was ants everywhere. And I ran in the street, and then everything was gross. And then I was like, why don't we use 10-pound dumbbells to hold down?
So when will it be finished, Monica? What's your sort of time frame of when you can actually start driving the van and doing these 25-minute experiences for people?
I wanted it done on Sunday. It's Wednesday. It's not done. I keep saying 2 weeks, but I feel like I've been saying that for a while. And it feels like I'm making no progress until I turn around and look at my videos and I look at the van and I'm like, oh, I got some progress. So let's see. What is it now? April? I'd say beginning of May.
Wow.
Soon. That's soon. It's great.
I'm going to, this afternoon I'm going to, there's a mental health clinic or something in Culver City in Los Angeles. I'm going to pop by there and see what's going on and have lunch with my friend.
Well, Monica, I applaud you on that. I think that's wonderful. I love the message of giving back, as well. We have a few minutes left, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask my usual topic of conversation on this podcast, is how things are changing a lot in the workforce very quickly for a lot of reasons, right? There are a lot of people who are going to hit retirement age. There are a lot of young people who are opting out of the workforce. And of course, AI seems to be taking some people's jobs, making them obsolete. And in recruitment in particular, last episode, not last week because we were off, but last episode, we had someone on talking about AI recruiting agents that had just been launched. He was the CEO of an AI, tool company. Two-part question. One, how are you feeling about all those changes? And B, personally, my thinking is, if AI is put to work doing some of the less human tasks for us in recruitment, does that not open up time in the day to maybe work on the more human qualities, kind of as you're saying? And how do you feel about all this?
Well, my chat GPT is my best friend.
Awesome.
She's like a therapist. She tells me what to do all the time. Her name is MB. She's great. She's funny. Anyway, I like her.
Did you name her MB?
Did I name her MB? No, my friend did.
Oh, okay.
He's like, you gotta name her MB. And it's EMBY.
Right. But for Monica Bloom, I see what you did there.
She's she. I'm me.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see yourself reflected in this thing. Anyways, I'm obsessed with it. We can talk about that next time, Vet. Listen, the world is always evolving. There's always new things, are always new, right? We're meant to expand. We're meant to evolve. We're meant to keep doing things. I think there's an opportunity to let ourselves, like you said, let them do some of the non-human things or some of the things, but we need to understand that to feel good as humans, we need that 5 sensory connection with our life. We need to be with people. Julie mentioned service. I'll get a little bit Ayurvedic on the topic. It is called your Dharma. Dharma, I know a lot of people are like, what's Dharma? Like Dharma and Greg, like kind of woojy, whatever. Dharma.
That's what I was thinking.
It's not it's not, people say it's your purpose. Kind of, not really. Your Dharma is the way you are. It's your inherent characteristics that cannot be taken from you. Water is always wet. Water will never be dry. Fire is always hot. It's never going to be cold. There are things within the 4 of us here on this call that are inherent characteristics that are part of us that are good. And the reason why we want to pay attention to that is because they're meant to serve. There is not any one of us that is not serving knowingly or unknowingly. It is our job. It's the reason why we're alive. It's the reason why we suffer if we don't do the things that are inherent to us that feel good. It's why I'm having a wild time with this van. I'm making art I'm doing construction. It's health related. I get to help people. It's totally in my service. I get to be away from the computer and in front of people. I get to be with heartbeats and eyeballs. That feels good to me. We're all different. And so that suffering that people feel is usually because there is a disconnect with how they are serving in the world. The only reason why we're here is to serve. And if we don't serve, we suffer. Or in the way that we're meant to serve, we suffer.
Mic drop. And so, and you're saying that just connecting with the essential things that make us us is part of that service. Just as long as we're connected to it and we're putting those things out there, then that is the purpose that we are here for.
Yes. And if you want an exercise on that for anybody that's listening, write down when you felt most in your element. When did you feel most in your skin? I don't care what age you were. I felt so good when I was this. What were you doing at the time? Who were you hanging out with? What was your environment? That you need to replicate or keep doing or go back to. That when you feel most like yourself, do whatever that is all the time.
Unless it's drink beer or smoke crack or something bad.
Yeah, I know.
Nothing bad. It has to be something good.
Yeah, it has to be something good. Well, it's just like you feel, I mean, even for me, I'm not going to lie. Okay, let's take the beer example. When I was in Wisconsin for my mom's heart surgery, I hooked up with all my high school friends. I was like, hi, do you want to go out? Do you want to do? And I got a pile of them together and I had Miller High Life and I was so freaking happy and I felt in my skin and I felt the love of these people that have loved me since I was 14. And I didn't miss a beat. I felt so happy drinking beer. And I'm like, I don't have that now. I don't have those people. I don't have people that have known me all that long. It's mostly a solo road. That's hard. So I'm going to fix it by putting myself in person with people again more often because that feels good to me. So it is something as simple as that. And if you're absolutely dreading your work and dreading your life, then 180 all of it. Do everything the opposite and see what happens to you. Or just pick one thing, do the opposite. You could start to unravel just like my run did. It started to unravel all these things. One little pull of the yarn ball and it starts to work better.
That is spectacular advice. Monica, you've given me like 1,700 sound bites to use on social media afterwards from all this amazing advice. Love it so much. Thank you so much for being here. We did have one comment, which was just that Atomic Habits is a must read. So let's go check that out as well. But definitely check out Monica's books, plural, but we will put links to them and to that podcast. Monica, if you can send that to me. Yeah. That was awesome. Anybody have any other last minute questions or anything you want to throw in?
No,
I've got 10 minutes and I'm going to put my trainers on and go outside.
I'm not.
Yes.
But I'm going to say thank you, Monica. You are and always have been inspirational. So thank you for coming here today.
Thanks, Julie. It's so much fun, all of you. Thank you so much for having me.
And we'll have you back on our sales panel next week to talk about sales stuff with some other folks. So everybody, please join us next week for episode 59 for our month-end sales panel. And in the meantime, have a great week.
Thank you so much. Bye.